Welcome to 7,000 Leagues Under the Scene, our alt-week content. Feast or Famine Studios is made up of real people with lives, jobs, families, and schedules that conflict more often than we'd like. So every other week, we'll be dropping a short podcast where some or all of us get together to chat about a recent episode, something specific to our table, or anything geeky that tickles our fancy. Inevitably, we will get off topic, but we hope that it helps you to get to know us a little better as players and as people. With that, let's find out who's on deck for this week's episode of
7,000 Leagues Under the Scene.
You gotta introduce yourself, and then we'll introduce ourselves.
I realized I was first. It is I, Umbra.
Polly.
Kimber.
Jace.
Griselda. And your Tides Mistress.
And we are going to be doing part 3 of Where It All Began.
Bum.
Bum bum.
We've talked already about my long-standing friendship with Tides Mistress, the campaigns that kind of came before that helped guide this particular one, and then how Kimber was instrumental in the shaping of the story as we began. But we thought we'd go through a couple of the character intros for people that you haven't met yet.
Well,
Polly or Umbra?
You've met us, but have you met Polly the character and Umbra the character?
This is true.
So is this character or is this player?
A little bit of both. Tell us how you ended up at the table, and then tell us all about Polly.
So I think I've talked about the weird behavior of being on this mobile game, this Discord server, totally out of character, blah, blah, blah. What I haven't said is my husband and I love D&D, have for our entire relationship tried to get games up off the ground and failed every single time, as often happens with scheduling and getting people involved and stuff. And before the pandemic, we had talked about, hey, we've tried with like everybody we know who might be interested. Do we want to try like random D&D people and try to get a group together that way? And my husband, who is so much of an introvert that I'm lucky he talks to me, was like, no, would love to play in D&D, but not with random people. So when Griselda's Appeal for Players appeared on my phone magically out of thin air for this amazing time slot where I can only do after bedtime. But not only can I only do after bedtime, because I know that my husband would not be interested in playing with random internet strangers. The fact that it was Thursday nights, there are only 2 nights a week that my husband is out of the house, that he works. And so it was one of those nights. And like, well, I wouldn't play without him while he's home, because that's rude. I want to spend time with my husband, right?
Nah.
And at the same time, my dad had just died. So I'm not really the type of person to put myself out there with a random internet strangers really all that much either. But I was like, things suck right now, and this just magically works. So I'm going to take a chance to have this good thing in my life and see what happens. And I remember reaching out first about like, okay, you said it's weekly, but hey, I have kids who are disabled. It affects their sleep. So I'm always home. I'm always available, but I might randomly. And Griselda, you made me feel so comfortable letting me know about how that would be complete non-issue with this particular group. And I'm like, I think I might have found my people. And indeed, I had.
So you were the only person at the table that did not come through Roll20. And I know we do cover this later, but in the behind the scenes, the 7,000 Leagues aren't taped in any sort of order. It's whoever's available at the time. So this is like the 15th one that we've recorded, but this is the 3rd one that will get posted. So
Wibbly, timey-wimey.
Yeah. Here we go. So Polly and I played the same mobile game. I happened to know there was a channel that was kind of about D&D, and so I posted in it. She replied, which is how she is now finding out post several other discussions that her application was essentially fast tracked to the point where like we were like, okay, well, we're pretty sure that this person is in. Now we have to fill the rest of the roles. Um and
I
most
just
of
found out that there were
those,
50 applicants. And
yeah.
I'm like, I'm making a character for a D&D campaign. I'm definitely in.
Yeah. The amount of information and like um hedging that was given to the roll 20 players was not you, that wasn't your experience. But it
Love you
was
guys.
Umbra's experience.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was.
Yeah, I'm finding out now that I had to go up against 50 other people. And once again, I rose to the top.
well, you are one in a million.
This is a damn fact. Me, Umbra, the player, actually had avoided all things hyper nerdy like D&D. I stuck to the video games, don't get me wrong. But D&D was just too nerdy, even though I secretly wanted in on this for, I don't know, since I was like 10, since I first heard about it. Because I mean, I was already at that point playing pretend in the playground and doing that shit anyways. Might as well, roll some dice and do, that. But I avoided it. Till about 2020, until I was a very young, undisclosed age. And 2020 hit, and I then randomly got approached by a friend of a friend who needed people to work with him at a sign company. And so I went, got the job there. My boss ended up being a hyper nerdy guy who was heavily into D&D. Like, played D&D, advanced D&D, like, and constantly quotes it and, other freaking versions of it. Not that he's saying they're superior, but he constantly quotes about it and all the things from it and, all that stuff. But he asked me one day while we were working if I had ever played, and that kind of just immediately made my neurospicy ADHD brain explode. Because I've always wanted to, and I was just crazy that someone brought it up. And yeah, from then on, I was hooked. I started playing online with him and his group. That they actually were used to play in person, but due to COVID and everything, they were all kind of playing online together still. And so that's how they're like, we play through Roll20. So I found out about Roll20, started learning about the game, thought immediately hyper fixated, went into a new obsession over it. And within like maybe a month of me playing with these people once a week, so about 4 sessions, I thought I need another game. And I know that Roll20 has this cool, like, find a random group. So I went on there, and literally this was the first group that I applied to. It just seemed, our Tides Mistress, she just, whoever wrote the ad for it did a great job because it sucked me in. It seemed very interesting. They seemed very welcoming when it came to, new players and players of all walks of life and whatnot. So that's what I did. And yeah, I have no problem talking to random complete strangers. That is not a thing for me. I play video games online all the time with random complete strangers, and I worked in retail and like food industry. So talking to people, that is my gig. Yeah, that's how I
I
fell
do
into that.
remember that our like application process was very clear that this was going to be an inclusive table, and if you were going to have a problem with that, this was not going to be the table for you, because that was so important to her and I both after previous experiences.
Yeah, that's what sold me, kind of, honestly. Granted, it was
And
the
we're
very
really
first one,
glad
and
that
I'm easily entertained and easily persuaded. So all you had to do was be like, "Gays welcome," and we play pretend, and I'm like, "Cool, sign me up."
and both of those things are true.
Yes, this is true.
I'm not at all surprised that you're the one who made it through the selection process, and pretty much everybody else had to go get in through side hustles and meeting outside of the process.
I interview very well.
Oh my God, I tell that to people all the time.
Apparently I do. It's like very like I'll take it because I'm not good with compliments, so whatever.
What? No way.
So we're not going to do Jace's introduction into how he became a part of the group because, spoiler alert, there will be another one pretty far down the line, so stick with us on how he came to be a part of the group since he joined a little bit later. But also knowing Jace, I'm sure that you have something prepared to talk about your actual character. So why don't you give us your character intro, if you don't mind?
Jace is a quiet wizard from Faerun. He wears ornate blue robes, carries a simple quarterstaff, and has this calm, piercing gaze that makes him seem like he's always noticing more than he says. His magic is mostly divination and illusion. He thinks of it as reading the flow of things, then nudging it when he can. So he's the guy who notices something is off, creates a distraction, or uses a small illusion to give someone a little hope. He's reserved but kind, and he cares a lot more than he usually lets on. He's not the type to make a big show of being heroic, but if someone is scared, grieving, or in danger, Jace is already looking for a way to help.
I think you did forget to mention that character Jace is always as magnificently prepared as player Jace is, which is perfect. So thank you for that. Polly and Umbra, do you guys want to talk about your characters?
Polly was written to a certain degree to be as simple as possible for the campaign. So I started with, there were a couple of like restrictions and requirements. We had to be level 8, and I was familiar with D&D, but I hadn't really played. I had played just a few sessions really of 5e. And it was for experienced players only. So I'm like, I'm going to play a marshal because they're more straightforward. Jumping in as an 8th level caster in a system I'm kind of shaky with. No, I feel a little antsy about doing that. And there, a lot of healing rolls were off the table because there was no divine association allowed. So I'm like, well, we're going to need healing. So between healing and martial, I went Way of Mercy Monk so that we'd have some healing at the table. And then the other thing was our illustrious TM asked us for in-depth backstories appropriate for level 8 characters. And I was very uncomfortable like improvising at the table and remembering information, holding things in my head. So I'm like, she's a hermit. And she went nowhere. She did nothing. She lived in a library her whole life. That is her backstory. And yeah, I built out a fleshed out character and the world that she came from. But in terms of like who this person is at my head and the experiences that she's had while I'm playing, very simple, very straightforward to jump in at 8th level with a bunch of strangers. Umbra?
Sorry, I was actually scrolled back to the first messages that our Tides Mistress ever sent me, just to look back on what my thoughts were for creating my character, and this has been a flippin' hoot. At one point, I will have to share this with my other some of these with my other teammates. I was gonna say coworkers or cohorts. I don't know why. Cohorts
I like
is
cohorts.
good too.
Yeah, cohorts for sure.
I like cohorts.
But co-conspirators.
Co-conspirator. There we go. Honestly, not gonna lie to you, I didn't know shit when I was making Umbra. Granted, at that point, because I had become so hyper obsessed with D&D and the benefits of learning how to play it online with D&D Beyond, the character maker, and all that stuff that was tied to D&D directly, plus Roll20, and the crackhead imagination that I have, and then being at work with someone who was working with me, who was a complete soundboard for every crazy shenanigan and thought that I had, was just the icing on top of this hyperfixation that I had. So when I came up with Umbra, that was already one character I had made, because I think when I started getting into D&D, by the time I had met the Tides Mistress in my group and then they were like, hey, figure out your character, I had already created like 20 characters on D&D Beyond, just throughout just with stupidly just thinking about stuff and making. And Umbra originally was not even named Umbra. Umbra was originally just, I think, a pirate of some sort. I don't remember. I don't even think it was. I think it was a he, and I think he was not even an orc. I want to say he might have been a gnome, because I just thought that was hilarious.
I reject
And
this reality. Umbra is a sexy orc pirate. That is all there is to it.
know. Yes, and he was going to be a very, very hyperactive and enthusiastic pirate. But so when I got it, and I think we had a couple conversations, or maybe we were talking about character creation, I think, or something, and everyone was kind of talking about the characters. I have this weird thing that, like, if somebody is already something or like close to something that I'm already trying to be or playing as, I like totally reject all of it and go and do something different, because I want to be unique, just like I want the other person to have a unique experience. I don't know. I'm weird that way. But I don't know, something about somebody must have said something and it just resonated too much with my character. So I completely changed them. I had this half orc idea. And then I was like, I don't know what I was watching or something I was inspired by. I'm trying to go through these messages. Maybe I said something, but I can't remember. But I was inspired by something, and I had this idea of like this, tribe, that something like this child was born wrong, like with powers, or something was wrong, so it was made to get rid of, like it wasn't right for the tribe. And then like that's where I was, and I was like, they were gonna. That's how they died, because this campaign you had to have died or something like that, or they were gonna be sacrificed. I don't remember what it was. Um, and then something came to my mind about God or something, kind of, because she didn't have a God or any sort of at that point, like a religion to have an afterlife to be in this campaign. So I think that the thought of the god came up, and something about them saving them or being connected to Umbra in some way. And then that's what I kind of presented. And boy, did that span out into some crazy nonsense.
That was
I mean,
the genius move of the whole campaign.
I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but what you brought to the table and how our Tide's Mistress met that and plussed it and created this magic campaign driving force that was the idea that chaos itself grafts itself onto you is just perfect.
I'm going to redact that.
I was gonna say. This is only the third episode. Spoilers.
No, I thought there were no spoilers for this campaign.
Yeah, you're 100%. There are no, but there is going to be a whole episode on character surprises.
Ah, nice.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. We might have already recorded it, and you don't even know.
Probably.
We haven't. Or at least I don't think so, but maybe.
But I mean, I think I added the sorceress part because I wanted to do magic on top of being a badass pirate, and then just kind of wove into something of that nature. I don't know. I'm actually really curious as to how much of my idea of the whole god thing helped propel any sort of storyline in the afterlife. But that might be a question for another episode.
Do you want an answer? Oh, she speaks.
I do, actually.
So, I think you've scrambled a couple details about Umbra's origin, but
Thank you.
mostly
I know I did.
No, the biggest thing was you had your pirate, and you were discussing something about maybe she previously had a connection to a god.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And I said, actually, I have a MacGuffin that would be very helpful to have attached to someone in the party. That there's a being of power that asks for help, and you help them. And you were like, oh, let's do that. And I said, okay. And I don't think I explained
anything beyond that.
It tracks for you.
Can confirm.
And you just went, yeah, that sounds amazing. It's like, and so then they'll be with you in some form. And you were like, yeah, okay, great.
I'm
And then
seeing that. Yes.
how long did it take you to realize that the dream was repeating?
Oh, it's a hell of a lot longer than it should have any normal person, honestly.
I mean, you had a script. It was beautiful, but yeah, that was.
I wrote an entire, I think it's like 6 pages of a dream sequence, but I broke it down into paragraph-sized chunks. And so the
Got it.
first time, I only read the first paragraph, and you woke up. And then every time, I successively added a little bit more to the story.
I remember that. It's like, oh, there's more here.
Until we just forced it all out of you
Till you speed ran it.
in one evening.
I want to go back to Umber. You said how you didn't want to have anything touching on what anybody else did.
I was wondering.
The funny thing, we are so, in general, cagey about our characters when we come to the table. If I had known that there was another monk, and in fact the campaign existed for that monk, I never would have been a monk. And then I wound up playing a druid with another druid in Criselda's campaign on Tuesday, Wednesdays. And so then we got to this campaign, and I don't remember who asked, was like, I was thinking about playing, cleric or paladin or something like that. I'm like, please let me have cleric. Can I just have the only one of this class for once?
Can we just talk about how different our monks were, though? Like,
oh yeah,
you could not. If you didn't know the mechanics of a monk, there is no way that you would have known that we were playing the same class.
I remember somebody called us Rage Monk and Study Monk.
I mean, genuinely, just like two sides of a coin. Never the twain shall meet.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I thought it was really a fun testament to like what you can bring to a character.
Those character relationships were, I mean, all of our character relationships were so special. But so we haven't talked about like actually bringing the characters together in this campaign yet. It's really early on. When I came to the table, I don't think I knew that 3 of you knew each other. And there were more of me and Umbras at the table that didn't last. But you promised us day one. You're like, hey, call us out if we ever get too cliquey here, because the 3 of us do know each other, but we want this to be a good space for everyone. And then I remember Kimber in like session 1 or 2, maybe you were the first person in character to like reach out to my character. We have giant barbarian woman and tiny little gnome girl, and you're like, hey, jump on up on my shoulder. And from that moment, Polly and Kimber's best friendship was born. And you though as a player really made me feel welcome, crossing that friend group boundary here at the table. And so thank you for that.
No, of course, and it was great. I mean, the shenanigans and serious time and everything that we had between Polly and Kimber throughout the whole 3.5 years was fantastic. But yeah, bringing that many people together who most people didn't know each other, it was definitely a risk. But it's one that I believe, I'm not going to speak for Tide's Mistress and Griselda, but I think it's one of the better moves we made in, this world, this realm of tabletop, was to put ourselves out there for this campaign.
I'm very glad that you did.
Amen.
So
huzzah for that.
I mean, I will say this. The Tide Sisters specifically was like, no, Kimber is the one that is tying all of this together. And we may have already talked about this in part 2. Apologies if we did. But the entire first introduction is just essentially Kimber going through, and we have all indicated, because again, this is an afterlife campaign, right? So we're all dead. And we've all kind of served our time on Earth. So we all had to come in with a reason why we wanted to start quote unquote adventuring again, right? We all needed to be looking for something, some reason that we would put ourselves in possible danger when we're living paradise-ish.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
it was.
you were kind of the steward there.
Yeah, and it was honestly it was a kind of a weird position for me as a player to be in that particular role. I've never really done that before, and I never expected Kimber to play as necessarily the de facto, leader or group organizer in any way. She was much more of a intended as much more of just, a brawler for the most part. But she was unhappy with sitting around. She'd been dead for quite a while and had gotten bored. And that's where the whole gathering a group of people like-minded or searching for something for themselves came from, because she got bored and had heard there were things to do, but they were more dangerous. I mean, in Paradise-ish, we didn't have to put ourselves in danger. We were living our afterlife, but it got boring. So she decided to put together a team to go out and do something.
And we saved the multiverse.
Yeah, we did. And it was
everybody.
a close call.
Yep. Very close.
We've already talked about the major surprise for like all of us in the campaign. But does everybody have like a favorite moment that they want to throw into this?
All of them. No,
So, yeah,
the thing that's popping at top of mind right now, and not that I want to detract from how awesome this memory is, but if you ask me tomorrow, I say something different, because there were so many amazing things.
No, 100%.
Jace and Safrina's relationship was just heartbreakingly tragic and beautiful. Loved that so
it
much.
was.
The two of you did a really good job with that.
You did.
Yeah, that was fun.
Has Safrina even been introduced, like, in any of these that we've done? I don't think so.
I don't actually know if she has, so I guess I need to do my second
Griselda,
character.
how about you introduce your other character?
Yeah, so you guys are familiar with Safrina from the first, or sorry, with Griselda from the first talks. The whole crux of this is I had this character that I freaking loved so much and had a very unsatisfactory end for her, missed playing her. And kind of out of that, this is where we ended up. Well, as we've talked about, we did have several players who along the way, for scheduling or just didn't fit or literally just dropped off the face of the earth and we never heard from again, left. And we got to a point where we essentially no longer had a face character. And it was becoming a bit of an issue. And if you listened to part 1, you know that I actually had a second character in the campaign that was before, that did not die in that campaign, but she was ostracized by the group that she was supposed to be playing with, to the point where I went to Tide's Mistress and I was like, I cannot continue to play this character. It is very clear that nobody in the party wants her there. She has no reason to be here. It does not make sense for her to continue. And it was another character that I had made and loved. She was fun and a bard with crazy good stats, um, who could talk her way out of anything, but apparently not into the hearts of the players that I was playing with at the time. So we had had a few people leave, and we loved the group that we were kind of left with at that point. And we really didn't want to mess with that, taking a shot in the dark on somebody else. And so we brought it to the table and we were like, hey, is it okay if I play another character? I will also say, Griselda, love her. Dumb as a rock. Completely uncharismatic.
Yeah.
So long conversations or like
Umbra thought she
there was
was
a
genius.
yeah, there was a point at which I just told our ties misters, I was like, I'm specifically not listening to you because Griselda would never. And so, but I'm not that person. Like I want to be in the storyline. I want to be part of pushing the storyline.
Decision
And
making.
yeah.
Man. Yes.
And so I brought in Safrina, my bard, and yeah, she made some choices and it definitely affected the storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jace came along, and my character, who was not like ace by any means, maybe aromantic in that like she had never found anyone who sparked anything for her. And Jace was just like this quiet constant. And I don't want, okay, no, I'm not going to talk about it because we are doing a whole episode on romances and I'm already crying now. And I really want to save that for later.
It was a good
So-
romance. Let's just leave
So
it at that for tonight.
yeah, tune in later for this episode where I will 100% cry.
Yes.
I brought this one up recently because it is one of the coolest things I think I've ever done as a player in character. Just hands down, no contest. The big bads in this particular campaign were as big bad as they possibly get. And one of them we found out was, I'm going to butcher his name, Mephistopheles.
Mephisto.
Correct?
And we stumbled upon a device that would allow you to essentially make a phone call to any being in the known universe.
Yep.
And I was like, well, if he's trying to overthrow the world and, make it into one where he's ruling, I think the person that would most want to hear about this is Asmodeus. So I rang up Asmodeus in character and was like, hey, can you do something about this?
You very specifically
Let's
did
go to
not
friends.
ask him to do anything. You just presented the information to him.
I did.
And I think that's what helped. But that was such a baller move. I loved that so much.
We did not want to strike a bargain with him
Correct.
in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
I remember being so nervous as a player of like trying to make sure that I was wording everything as eloquently as I knew my character was capable of, but I don't have a charisma that high. And so I was like, please, for the love of all that is holy, do not trap yourself into something here. And so I was trying to be so careful. And
it was not
worked.
just a roll. It was not just a you rolled and oh yeah, you convinced him. Like you actually had to say it out and almost convince our Tides mistress, basically.
Our Tides Mistress' payoff on that was amazing because what do you do with that when your player comes to you and makes a not bargain with the number 2 in hell? And the number 1 in hell was on the battlefield in the final battle. And in the first round, like, we had heard nothing. There was no response. I think
And
when
I
you
was
got
not
like,
calling again.
yeah, yeah. And then first round, hell opens up and Mephistopheles sucks Asmodeus off the battlefield. Regretting my phrasing there. But it was, and that combat was so fucking tough.
Oh my god.
There
Yeah.
could have been another god on the field.
Yeah. It's hard to point to any one thing. Like, I mean, we've all been talking about that. One of it's not even really a good memory, but one of the things that defined Kimber through this campaign was her shitty rolling. It was bad.
It was really bad.
I'm pretty sure it is the reason we have the tenacious die in place.
For the
Honestly.
most part, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it did lend to its own story components and things and decisions that Kimber made, because she was not doing what she thought she should. She was not able to protect or do the things that she needed to protect Polly, to protect the group, to,
Polly had
And-
total confidence in her.
and I appreciate that, but she was not feeling that confidence, which led to some decisions, and one of them being taking sponsorship from Odin, which then
True.
separated her from everyone else.
I need a one shot.
Yeah,
Yeah, a couple
we
of us
definitely
do,
talked
actually.
about that. We should do a couple one shots.
Kimber winds up in Valhalla, and Polly is
Yep.
still in the Hall of Rest, and it's tragic and must not stand.
But that it again, it was not like the shining one, the best thing that ever happened, but it definitely led to character choices and things that I did not expect going into that campaign with that character.
Bringing Jason was a highlight.
Oh yeah, Polly loved it.
Yeah. Polly was so happy.
Maybe we should talk
And-
about that really quick.
Sabrina's entrance. So these other players who left, other than one whose character wound up too involved in the story to be written out so easily, literally just basically disappeared in the middle of the night. And Polly had lived her whole life basically cloistered in life, and had one adventure and failed, but it was a solo adventure. So then we had this one big early battle that was rough, but we made it through. And in Polly's head, this was, oh, I have friends. That's the difference. That's why I can go on these adventures. That's why I can be successful. I have these friends who have my back, and that's amazing. And then like 2 nights later, somebody leaves in the middle of the night and just leaves a note behind. And she was so pissed off by that. Like, these friends that I just learned to depend on, one of them disappears. So Kimber added Safrina to the party without discussing it with the party. And of course, above table, the new character comes in. Obviously, they're going to join the party, right? But in character, Safrina has earned no trust from Polly. These multiple other people have left with no notice, and we haven't been through anything yet. So Polly just was not going to trust Safrina until Safrina earned that trust. And so she was a little bit of a mean girl to Safrina. Be practicing being a terrible person in character a little bit for the
A
first
little
time.
bit, yeah.
In
But then-
Sabrina's defense, or not defense, rather, she didn't make earning your trust easy.
No.
But she did.
No, it was rough.
We came back
Fuck
from an
yeah.
adventure, and she stuck around, and then Polly was really cool with Safrina. But Kimber noticed that Polly was, not cool with the onboarding procedure. And so there was a trial period for Jace. And so it was a lot easier for Jace to earn Polly's trust. And I think, I don't know, we get in combat really early, but you came in with the most amazing camel in the world. And then just as a
Definitely
player,
best camel.
the breath of fresh air added to the campaign. So yeah, Polly loved Jace from the go.
Poor
I
Sabrina.
mean, of course, Frida. I mean, if we're talking about, you said surprising, right?
I mean, just anything, any good memory from it.
Oh, good memory. I mean, there was a ton. Honestly, anytime I freaking shot a lightning bolt and it happened to hit any of you.
Like the fish.
I knew that was going to be it. I almost said something.
The fucking
I mean,
rabbit.
honestly, oh yeah.
Oh, the fucking rabbit. That was amazing.
Oh, that was good. I need to go. I want to go and re-listen to that.
Or
I
we're having a
remember
chill
when-
conversation with a storm giant and suddenly lightning bolt.
Oh yeah, no. No. I loved playing Umbra. She that was like, I mean, I had played a few like, I think at that point I had played 2 characters before Umbra technically. My very first character I ever made, who was a oh my god, why am I drawing a blank on the name of the class? The little mechanic people.
Artificer?
Thank you. Artificer. She was a little
You're
artificer,
welcome.
and thank you. And she was a gnome, and she wasn't chaotic. She was she was good. She was a little bit nerdy and kind of like sheltered in a way. When she got out and adventuring, she always went and looked at things that she shouldn't have and tried to examine things that like,
So she was
look at this
chaotic.
giant. She was in that like ignorant sort of way to the world. But Umbra was like the first character I got to play where I let my, I just said fuck it and did kind of whatever. I rolled random dice to make my decisions. That's how chaotic I wanted to be. And I love that the dice always just kind of, told a story. And that story was lightning bolt. Pretty much every other
Electrocute just.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we love that too.
Uh-huh.
Oh, also going and grabbing anybody and like lightning stepping away. That was also
Regardless of who's nearby or if we're in water.
regardless.
Yep.
Or
Yeah,
the
no,
water.
regardless.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. He didn't think.
There was a point in the campaign where Polly had taken more friendly fire, especially from Umbra, than enemy fire.
Yes.
That point was over when we got hit with our first meteor swarm, but for a while it was true, and it was mostly Umbra's fault.
Yeah.
Valid. Yeah. I don't know why we didn't get anybody like any sort of like lightning resistant armor or anything, but or any sort of effect that negated like lightning on yourself. But I was just like, yeah,
It's
fuck it.
your responsibility as player not to kill your fellow PCs.
Also,
I'm like, we're already dead.
in the afterlife. I don't know if you remember this. It was not like we couldn't just go to any store and find the stuff that you can find when you're out adventuring in the real world because we're dead.
But did you die though?
Technically,
only
You did.
one of us. Only
You
one
tried
of
to.
us
and
got
tried to not come back.
And we said no.
And we said, hell no.
Yeah.
I ran for my life to come back and tell you that was not acceptable.
I was not allowed anything in that campaign. As you will all find out, they held me on by a leash. I was constantly pulled back. I was never allowed anything.
So hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was so tough being you.
All right. I think we're going to end there. Totally. I'm just kidding. If somebody has something else they want to say.
I did make Tressa partially in response to Umbra's chaos. Like, when it comes to money, she's gonna fuck with your fun.
True.
I wanted Polly to be a little bit more of a chaos beast than she was, but I cannot hold a candle to you. So my way of causing chaos in making Tressa was like, I will poke the chaos person's buttons with my character instead of poking the chaos buttons myself.
I'm just honestly, I mean, I love all my characters. I even love this character that I have currently sitting on that I'm not hoping, because I love Satalik too much, but God forbid if anything were to happen to him, you should all be very, very afraid of this other one.
I don't know if you know
Oh.
this. We're very, very afraid of every character that you make.
Yeah. Yeah.
Facts.
Just
In the best
more
way
than-
possible, but yeah.
I don't want to have to sew new character patches for everybody's cross-stitch pieces.
I love it.
I think we probably actually do kind of need to end here because this one is going really long, and I think the problem is we have an entire book of memories just for this campaign. And
Yeah.
even still, to this day, we'll be like, "Hey, do you remember that time?" And I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, we didn't even write about that," because there are
No, we
so
didn't.
many amazing moments, and so many reasons why when the Tides Mistress was like, "Hey, I want to do another campaign. Are you guys in?" Universally, we said, "Hell yes."
Let me tell one more story
Go
to
for it.
end with. I remember our Tides Mistress's anniversary present to us when we were playing together for a year. And we never really talked about really the scale of the current campaign, how long it might go on, or if there would be anything next, let alone what. And she came to us and she brought 5 campaign ideas for the next campaign. And she said, talk amongst yourselves, tell me what you want to do next, and walked away. And then as a group, we went through all 5 of them, and there was some cool stuff in there. Not only did we agree on Waterworld, we ranked all 5 things in the exact same order. And it was just this amazing moment of we get to keep this group that we have, this magic that we have. These stories, plural, are going to continue. And that was just mwah.
Chef's kiss. Yep.
Agreed.
I'm curious. Does anybody have a question of anything they didn't have answered in the campaign that they'd like to know about?
What effect would failing to save the multiverse and having it rebooted without chaos have had on our current campaign?
It would not have affected the current campaign in a noticeable way to you.
That is a precisely worded answer, if ever.
Okay,
I have
Sabrina.
That qualifier.
Yeah.
That makes me. I don't know why that made me think that we would go back to that at some point. Like that statement you just made made me think. Wait, so are we going back to that at some point?
Yeah, I now have more questions.
Bum bum bum.
Mm-hmm.
I have a
Well,
feeling you're not going
I
to
do.
answer the rest of them, given how you worded that.
the rest of what I will say is that the third campaign has been determined. We briefly discussed it before. We won't mention it at the moment, but probably in the next half a year, we'll start discussing how that's going to start, so I can begin building that out while we're running this concurrently. Because, we never do anything halfway.
Nope.
Yeah.
And I am a fan of Threadcraft. I love the gift that Polly gave me of both my little cross stitch and my massive octopus that's on my wall. And I think one of the most fascinating things, the magic of Threadcraft, is how it weaves things together. And I hope you all have a wonderful night. This has been an absolute delight to
Thank you so
listen
much.
to you
Talk
talk about the campaign.
And this is what we get to deal with.
And the
A
recording.
blessing and a curse.
I have expletives.
Yeah, I think we all do at this
Okay.
point.
I
Yep.
love you,
Good night,
Venus.
everybody.
Oh.
Thank you again for diving in with us. We hope that you enjoyed listening to that half as much as we enjoyed making it. Tune in next week for the continuation of our story from Feast or Famine Studios.